Welcome into the CHGO White Sox postgame show, presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow Herb Lawrence on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's the CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. We'll be joined a little bit later on in the show by Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. We are here after a White Sox. Hold your breath, folks. Are you waiting?
Yes.
Still wait, because this game took 4 hours to finish. A White Sox loss. And oh boy, did they lose. It's a historic one on the South Side, 21-5. And on the broadcast, they noted that this is the most runs any team has ever scored in the history of Guaranteed Rate Field history. So since 1991, when they opened that park, the most runs ever scored by an opponent just happened today. Herb, how are you feeling with this history?
I mean, at least they gave up the most runs. If you're going to lose bad.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
So,
historic.
Yeah. Wow. Just a piss-poor effort by the whole team. The team winning the first 2 games. And, I said before this series, win 2 out of 4. That's all I want. But after you win the first 2, I got greedy. Let's go and win one more of those 2 games remaining. And I should be happy that the White Sox split with the best team in the American League, the team with the best record in baseball, I believe. But no, I'm not, because the White Sox were outclassed today. Not even close, like 10-0 before the 4th inning is even over. Sad times. And we have to just sit there and look at the White Sox just constantly getting beat. And it's feeling like the Simpsons meme or GIF where it's like, he's already dead. It's like, yes, stop killing us, Astros. And it had to happen to the Astros. The Astros had to do it too.
Right.
Like the team I hate the most. I was thinking like there's probably not a team, not the Twins, not the Royals, not the Indians or Guardians or Tigers, not even the Cubs that I hate as much as I hate the Astros. And they put it on the White Sox, deservedly so. I'm kind of halfway happy because they showed that they're miles away from the White Sox. And I hope Rick Hahn, Kenny Williams, Jerry Reinsdorf, the whole organization is embarrassed by this effort they gave out today, because 21 runs to be scored in a Major League Baseball game is ridiculous. And the other part we were talking about is that at the time, the Houston Astros had 17 runs in the game. The White Sox didn't score 17 runs in this series.
Nope.
A 4-game set, didn't score 17 runs. Just bad.
It's pathetic. And, hey, you mentioned, too, like, the split feels good. But then you look at the run differential. And, yes, it's inflated by this game. But the main point is, I don't think the White Sox could do this in 100 years. The White Sox could not go out this year and beat a team 21-5. Let alone a team that has a record above 500. The teams that they've knocked around this year, Detroit 13-0, LA 11-4. They knocked around the Giants 13-0, but they're not a playoff team this year. The White Sox take care of business against bad teams. They could not take care of business against the Houston Astros. And looking back on that game on Monday and Tuesday, where they win by 2 runs and they win by 1 run, I didn't have a great feeling. Like, it was great that they won. It was a good feeling that they won, but I didn't say, oh, world beaters, Sox are back, because it didn't have that feeling. The White Sox still didn't hit home runs. They had 1 home run from Yoan Moncada, but hey, clearly it wasn't enough. Clearly they got out-homered today. So it was just real rough. Schwo saying this looks like a Bears score. I mean, the White Sox have scored 10-plus runs in 6 games this year.
And the thing is, in multiple and consecutive innings, they had bases loaded with nobody out, as they've had time and time again in this series and this year. We looked at each other, we're like, they're going to score 1 run. They scored 1 run on ground ball double plays, or one that was a sac fly that scored Yoan Moncada. Like, they had opportunities. They had chances to get to Luis Garcia. But, of course, White Sox hitters are just very, very stubborn about 3-1 counts. I don't know what they're looking for. every single time that they had a advantageous count, Luis Garcia's like, I'm throwing a fastball. Go ahead and hit it.
Right.
And they would just be late on the swing. It doesn't make sense, their approach. What are you looking for there? If you're late on a fastball, there's nothing faster than his four-seam fastball in his arsenal. What else were you looking for? What were you waiting for so goddamn long? And they're just following it off to the opposite field. No. 3-1. Get ready for a fastball. If he tricks you on a curve or he tricks you on a slider or he tricks you on a changeup, look dumb. Look stupid. You saw the Astros, Yuri Gurriel versus Lucas Giolito early in the game was trying to go for the downs because he saw his changeup and it looks like his fastball. He's like, I'm going to give a fastball swing. He looked dumb. But guess what? A couple of those players looked dumb. Trey Mancini, crack, home run. Same thing with Alex Bregman, crack, home run. These teams attack fastballs while the White Sox sit back and look at fastballs go over the plate, or they foul them off to the opposite field, which just every time it happens infuriates me.
Well, and something that I noticed, or at least stuck out watching 4 games of the Astros, Jason ended up saying that the Astros have a very similar first strike swinging percentage compared to the Sox, but they stay aggressive. And you look at the moments that they had a bad moment in this game. Yordan Alvarez striking out against Lucas Giolito with runners on second and third, right?
Yep.
He strikes out looking at a fastball down the middle. They just didn't stay aggressive. Like, the thing about the White Sox, too, is you see this with Moncada. You see this with Grandal. We've seen this with Jose. Getting caught looking and trying to have that best pitch and that great eye. The White Sox aren't aggressive. They don't put great swings on balls. And it's just so frustrating. And you bring it up in hitters' counts when you have 3 balls. Whether it's a 3-0 count, 3-1 count, 3-2 count, the White Sox are the 18th best team in Major League Baseball with a hitter's count. They have the 18th best weighted runs created plus at 184 in the major leagues when it comes to a 3-ball count. They have 9 home runs in those counts. 9.
And how many play appearances?
400 and no plate appearances
or
740.
Oh my Jesus!
456 plate at bats.
Oh God!
9 home runs. The only other teams with sub 10, Detroit has 6. Kansas City has 6. Just brutal.
That's it?
Yeah. The White Sox are 28th in 3-ball counts.
White Sox.
There's 3 teams in the major leagues on 3-ball counts that have less than 10 home runs. White Sox, Detroit, Kansas City.
That's just shit. Like,
yeah, they're a shit team. I hate watching this team. I do. I just do. It's brutal. And it's like auto take on 3-1. But then even then, like, they just can't hit fastballs. We talked about this, like their inability to hit fastballs. Go look at Sebi Zavala today. Can Sebi Zavala catch up to velocity? We now need to have the Yermin Mercedes question with him. Can he hit anything above 94 miles per hour? Because it really seems like he can't. Sebi hit a slump. That guy was fine. He was producing. He was getting hits. He was getting things to fall. The BABIP was really high, the batting average of balls in play. And now he just can't even make contact. I mean, it is brutal. Shane saying 9. They've homered 9 times in the 3-ball count. It's ugly.
That's the second time I've brought up Ferris Bueller today.
Oh, yeah. And Luke Stuckmeyer, who's Grandpa Stuckey.
Who's old as hell.
Old as hell.
Older than me.
I didn't even get the Ferris Bueller reference.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I said, I was going over to Cody Del Mendo, who was another co-host of the CHGO Cubs, which they're doing their show right now. And I was like, hey, Cody, what's the score? He's like, 0-0. And I asked him, who's winning? And anybody who's out there listening or watching right now would say, the Bears. But no, Cody didn't know it. And then I said that to Luke, and he didn't know it either. I was like, what good is it being old if you don't remember classic lines from Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
I don't remember a lot of lines. I remember that one. There's not a lot that I can pull off that my dome, whether from movies or TVs. I can remember that one. Ferris Bueller, great movie. Probably the best Chicago movie.
Blues Brothers?
It's up there.
I don't like the Blues Brothers.
Okay, well,
no.
I've never seen it.
No, I'm not a fan. I know everybody in the comments probably loves Blues Brothers, but I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
And I mean, Adventures in Babysitting was good, even though it was filmed mostly in Toronto.
He's a real righteous dude.
Good job, Shane.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Nice one. And hey, I see this from David in here and White Sox Tom. At least we didn't get shut out. We scored 5. It's good. I think I saw David up here mention something about the run differential for the Sox. Coming into today, the White Sox had a run differential of -12. Today, it's -28, folks. Not good. Not fun to see. And run differential counts this year in the playoffs. If you're going to be tying with the Minnesota Twins or Cleveland Guardians at the top of the division in the AL Central, and you got the same record as them, you're going to not make it in the playoffs because of that run differential. The White Sox need to take care of business, and this is just ugly. This is just a falling flat on your face right here.
And the same goes for the wildcard teams, and everybody is just far away from the White Sox as far as run differential. And let's see, it's not showing me right here on this thing, but I'm sure Baltimore has a positive run differential. The Twins, we've already discussed them, but
Baltimore +6. I mean, for actual playoff teams, if you look at the wild card, Toronto +47, Rays +26, Mariners +26, Twins +32, Orioles +5, Sox -28, Red Sox -25, Rangers -3. The Rangers, who are 53 and 65, have a -3 run differential.
Clark believes that, well, firstly, John thinks the best Herb is Mr. Kent. I'm the best Herb since Mr. Kent? No. Still, even though he has passed, Herb Kent is still the cool gent and the best Herb ever. Running Scared was the best Chicago movie. Do you remember that movie, Billy Crystal?
No.
The dearly departed Gregory Hines?
I've never heard of Running Scared.
Great movie. It filmed right here at the Illinois Center, the James Thompson Center there, which is now, I think it's going to be owned by Groupon or Google, one of the two.
Google.
Yeah. And
Billy Crystal in a Cubs jersey?
Yeah. It's an old 80s movie.
All right.
Where they're undercover cops in Chicago.
That doesn't
Jimmy
look bad.
Smits is in it, too. He's the big villain.
I did screw up. I don't know Jimmy Smith. But Smits?
Smit.
Jimmy Smit?
Smits.
Schmitz?
There's no, H in it.
Schmitz.
Smits, I believe it is.
Smids.
Yeah.
Does Dark Knight count?
Dark Knight does count, yes.
But it's Gotham.
Yeah, Dark Knight does count.
I was thinking movies set in Chicago, not filmed in Chicago. Because Blues Brothers, I mean, most of it, some of it's Joliet, but, Ferris Bueller, Wrigley, Downtown, the Burbs. I think that's more of a Chicago movie. Anyways, I want to say I screwed up here. Whether for the division title or wild card, tiebreakers go head-to-head record, interdivision records, last half of interleague games, last half of intra-league games +1. So it's mainly head-to-head record. So that's what will decide it if the White Sox tie with the Guardians or tie with the Twins. It's a head-to-head record. Rick Wallace saying, got to stop watching them. I don't know if it's at that point. I understand people's frustration, and I will not tell people to or not to watch them. But on Monday, we were saying, if they turn it around, would you still root for this team? I still think the players deserve our support. I think that they are trying, and I think the main reason why they are not having success is because of extremely, extremely poor coaching and extremely poor leadership from within the coaching staff. That's just my opinion. It doesn't feel like Tony La Russa is truly getting to these players, and Frank Menachino has an outdated style of coaching. I really do think that it is hurting these players, and I think that the talent's still there from these guys. It just seems like they are truly, truly suffering from messaging and excitement and true leadership, and they're looking at the players to step up and be leaders, but I'm sorry, you hire a manager for a reason. Managing is not hard. Managing a baseball game is not hard.
Not at all.
What you are supposed to do is keep the clubhouse vibes good, and Tony La Russa has not done that. That's why 2021, I was fine with the overall job that he did, because they went 93 and 69 or whatever. They won the division. They improved from 2020. He helped them improve, or he at least kept them, or they still made that improvement. This year is a complete step back. It's about 5 steps back, and it's ugly baseball to watch.
I've always said that I could do the in-game managing of a baseball game. It's pretty easy, especially now when there's no double switches and shit like that, even though those are easy as hell too. But the things where managers get their money and the things where managers are responsible for, as you said, Sean, is the clubhouse, the culture, the leadership you have on the team. The stuff off the field is where managers are supposed to be making their money. Players, for the most part, will win or lose games 95% of the time. Your in-game movies, I'm thinking about movies. Your in-game moves are minimal, but, Tony La Russa has been proven that wrong time and time again this season with some of his moves, some of his, hey, the White Sox are down by 1 run. I'm going to put in my worst bullpen people instead of putting in some of the guys who can sustain this lead until our offense might come back, as the White Sox have shown a propensity to come back late in games and get a couple runs for their bullpen. Those things are just aggravating. So Tony fails with so many whispers. To have players openly say, this team has no fire, and then him getting mad about, hey, we're supposed to keep that in family, where last year he didn't keep in family that he was pissed at Yermin Mercedes and told the other team to hit him.
He was so obvious with it.
Yeah.
He was pissed off in the dugout.
Yeah, and so he didn't keep it in family, and now he's hypocritical. Now a player's like, this team don't got no damn fire. Hey, we're supposed to keep that in-house. You didn't do it, bro, fucker.
Here's the thing, too.
I gotta go out.
I don't understand, when he hears that comment about family, why he's like, oh, Johnny needs to, keep it there. The whole plan, apparently, was that Tony was going to call a meeting anyways. So, hey, we'll talk about it. You know what? If Johnny, a leader who has won a World Series ring, who has been around the block, goes out and says that, you should let him say that, let it be said, and just be like, oh, I didn't hear it, whatever, and then have that meeting and act and don't react. It's a lot of reaction and a lot of acting. I don't know if Tony actually had a meeting planned. That's what he says. But did he? No. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of crap. And anyways.
Why does it take until August for somebody to say that, for an outsider to say that? And while we said in the pregame the same thing, Dallas Keuchel called this team out last year in Detroit. He did it to them first and then went into the media sessions this team has no fire. We need to get better, this, that, and the other. And the team responded to that positively. I think having leaders call you out, now some might get butthurt, some might get feel a certain way. I feel you should listen to that. If you feel a certain way, it was the point. You should feel embarrassed. You should feel angry at me that I'm calling people out, that I'm calling you out. And what you going to do about it? You going to prove me right by keep on playing lifeless baseball? Or you going to prove me wrong by going out and doing the job? But Tony's like, no, we've had fire. That's why we wouldn't be in the same position if we didn't have fire.
Right.
3 games over 500, brother.
You're losing.
Yeah, you're 3 games over 500. The only reason you're in here is because the Guardians and the Twins are no damn good either.
You have a worse run differential than the Rangers, who have just fired their manager, fired the president of baseball operations, are 12 games below 500. It's brutal. And Chi-Town Fanboy said something that I do want to, let be said. It's a little bit up more about the players. It's not on players don't get a pass, is what he said. They're the main problem, and that's coming from someone that loathes this coaching staff. Let's talk about the reason why the Sox lost today. It's not really on Tony. It's not on the coaching staff. It's just mainly frustration here. This game, the White Sox lost because Lucas Giolito had a bad day. Yep. Vince Velasquez had a bad day. Yep. Jose Ruiz had a bad day. Hate to say it, Josh Harrison had a bad day on the mound. Let's go to the balls in play hit by the Houston Astros. We don't need to go at bat by at bat because I thought this game was going to be a little bit closer, Steven, so we can kind of just trash those graphics. Oof. Let's look at the balls put in play here. And this is from Vince Velasquez and Lucas Giolito through the 5th inning. This is where the Houston Astros were putting balls in play. Herb, describe to the listeners what you see. Where are the main pitches for the Astros where they're hitting those balls in play and putting very, very good swings on those balls? Where are they in the strike zone?
For me, they're all in the middle of the strike zone, all in the middle of the strike zone, and then a couple are just off the plate. But yeah, you're getting beat high. There's a couple of high fastballs up there. There's middle pitches right there. Four-seam fastballs, 3 four-seam fastballs are pretty much in the middle of the quadrant of the plate. So yeah, you're either missing with 93 mile per hour straight as fuck four-seam fastballs, or you meant to put that pitch there versus the Astros, who attack those pitches and murder them.
I think I count 12 dots on that screen. 7 of them are in the middle. 4 of them are on the outside. Just brutal. And a lot of it, too, Lucas wasn't bad. He was just horrible when he couldn't be. He was really, really awful with 2 strikes. A lot of those
Yes.
are ones that are like a lot of those fastballs. You can see those 3 little red fastballs near the lower of the zone in the middle of the plate. A lot of those are 2 strikes. I mean, what he needs is better control. He needs the velocity to come back, but even then, if you are going to have 91, you can't be throwing 91 to Alex Bregman in the middle of the zone.
No.
He's going to rock that shit.
And I don't know, did we get a super chat from Stephen Bardo?
We did, yeah. Thanks for
already-
going to it. Our guy, Stephen Bardo.
Sorry.
I think it's Stefan. He's never corrected us. So,
Stefan.
Stephen Bardo.
I feel like he's the Illinois basketball player.
Right. He gave us a super chat, and we appreciate that, Stefan. He said, what would they pull the trigger and call up Colas? There was a report saying that the White Sox aren't done tweaking their lineup yet, and you might be hearing something, and there was a soda emoji, so maybe, but I'd be surprised at this point, especially after Gavin Sheets has 4 hits.
Yeah, he looked good. He was taking the ball the other way, which he has developed that into his game. He sees that the third baseman's playing at the shortstop position, and he lets the ball get deep and goes that way. Now, good on Gavin Sheets knowing that when the time is necessary for him to hit the ball over the fence, for the most part, he's been doing some good power hitting for the White Sox. I would run Colas over Gavin Sheets 10 times over 10, but I don't know if Colas is ready for Major League Baseball pitching. He's killing Double-A pitching.
Right.
Major League is a different animal, and it's a different beast, but he looks ready, though.
And people talk about how well, if you do well in Birmingham, that's a good sign that you'll do well in the majors. Maybe he can make that jump. He's 24 years old, has had some, very minimal professional experience over in Japan and Cuba. So maybe it's something they take a shot on to get some left-handed power. Sox fans, we've got almost 2 months left. The playoffs are right there for the taking. The White Sox have a chance to win it all, and so do you. This Sunday only, August 21st, as the Sox take on the Guardians, PointsBet and CHGO have an offer for you to guard your cash when you sign up for PointsBet. Use the code CHGO, make a $51 bet, either pregame or live, and get $2,000 in risk-free bets, a yearly CHGO membership, a size C Sox shirt, an exclusive, and this one's brand new, an exclusive CHGO sock script only available with this offer, and a pair of slides from the CHGO locker.
Mercy.
All you need to do is sign up on the PointsBet app using code CHGO. It's the best deal in town, and it just got even better. Again, you get a size C shirt, you get an exclusive CHGO sock shirt. We told you it was coming, and new slides. And that's all for $51 pregame or live. I think you can do that now. But that is also something that we'll be telling you a lot about on August 21st. We'll be having a live show. We'll have a pregame show. We will have a live show throughout the game and a postgame show with our good friend Vinnie Duber. We're going to bring in Vinnie right after I tell you about Owen. Only what I need right now is to talk to Vinnie Duber. But if I had to pick anything else, I'd pick the 100% plant-based protein shake that Owen makes. Owen is a 100% plant-based protein shake that gives you nutrition that works as hard as you do. All of their products are free of artificial ingredients. They're allergen-friendly. There's no gluten or dairy, and they're easily digestible. I walked over to the West Loop Market yesterday. I saw Owen in the fridge. I was tempted to grab it. They had the dark chocolate one. It just wasn't for me in that moment, but I know Herb's made that choice, and he hasn't regretted it. You can get the chocolate flavor. You can get the vanilla flavor. You can get the salted caramel flavor. You can get the strawberry banana flavor. I know our guy Nicholas Moriano loves to use this after he works out. And I know Justin Fields is probably going to go to this after the preseason game tonight. Chicago Bears quarterback who follows a plant-based diet. That's where I first heard about Owen. So why don't you, like the Chicago Bears quarterback Justin Fields, partner up with Owen? CHGO and Owen have partnered up to give you an awesome offer. You can get 20% off your first purchase at liveowen.com. That's LIVEOWYN.com. And with code CHGO20, you can get 20% off your first purchase at liveowen.com. Join me and Justin Fields and try Owen. It's only what you need. Also on liveowen.com, they have a quiz that you could take and get the right products for your diet. So go use that code CHGO20 to get 20% off your first purchase at liveowen.com. Let's go out to Guaranteed Rate Field and talk to the CHGO White Sox beat writer, Vinnie Duber. You can follow Vinnie Duber on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. A historic day at Guaranteed Rate Field. The most runs an opponent have ever scored at that ballpark. How was it, Vinnie?
It was long.
Yeah.
It was long. if you're going to have a 26 run game, you know you're going to be in it for a while. So obviously the White Sox would have preferred they were on the other side of it. But it was a doozy, no doubt about it. I'm gonna say something here up top, Sean. You said it. You called it a historic day, and that had been passed on to me as a pet peeve because historic, especially when you're talking about sports, it tends to get overused. And you got to put that qualifier on it. You know what I mean? The most in baseball history, the most in White Sox history. Because historic, what we're putting the 21-6 Astros win over the White Sox in the history books right next to the COVID pandemic. Like, come on, this is we can't put a baseball game on the same plane as the moon landing here.
The most famous memories in the Astros-White Sox rivalry, Scott Podsednik's first home run, the 21-6 game today, and Paul Konerko's home run off Chad Qualls. All right, my friend? Historic, the definition is famous or important in history or potentially so. So the fact that it says potentially so, I think leaves a lot of room to interpretation.
No, bad. Disagree.
Who'd you talk to after this bad game?
I mean, as you might expect, the words were short. The chats were brief today with Lucas Giolito and Gavin Sheets, who had 4 hits today. Tony La Russa said it was brutal. Listen, when teams get beat like this, they know that it's bad. That doesn't make it any less, or any more fun, I should say. I think Tony said something like, "Yeah, it was brutal for White Sox fans, brutal for us too to have to play in." So. It was horrible. The pitching was really bad. Lucas Giolito gave up way too many runs and got way too few outs. That was your ball game right there early. By the time the book was closed on him, it was 7-0. That's it right there. So, obviously there's a lot of people who are frustrated by watching the offense. And they had the bases loaded situations in back-to-back innings where they only got 1 run out of each of them. But guys, let's not pretend like they were going to, score 10 or that it was realistic for them to score 10, in those situations. The problem was that the pitching gave up, well, let's call it 17 runs because it was a position player who gave up the other 4. But 21-5, that's nasty. That's one of the worst ones that we've seen in a while.
I know the game was well out of hand by the time the 6th and 7th innings rolled along, but the White Sox had bases loaded, no one out, in both of those innings, scoring 1 run apiece in both of those innings. As they focused on anything about that, because they've had time and time again where they had that exact situation and failed to score runs or scored a very minimal runs. Do the White Sox, I don't know, work on things to not choke in situations like that? Because it's like every time I see it, I'm like, they're going to score 1 or 0 runs. It's just so maddening that they keep on doing it. I know they're not doing it on purpose, but it seems like it.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Listen, there's so much. I don't want to use the word disconnect because that sounds bad, but it's just really funny to me how myself included, anybody out there watches a game and goes, look at that, that's bad. They need to fix that. Why aren't they trying to fix that? Obviously, these guys are trying to fix it. They work all the time. It's so funny that the idea is oh my God, they pull one lever and obviously, oh, why? It never occurred to us to practice when guys are on base kind of thing. I'm not trying to say that to bury anybody. I just think that it is a funny thing that occurs because they know that this isn't going well. And so a lot of it is unexplainable. A lot of it is because of all the other problems they've had offensively all year long that you can point to and say, why aren't they fixing that? But some of this stuff is just, weird. And, I think the White Sox being bad in situations like that are because the White Sox are not really that great of an offensive team in all situations. There obviously are those few numbers that you can point to where they're hitting, they got a lot of hits, they got a high batting average, but they don't walk, they don't homer, that kind of thing. They sure walked a hell of a lot today, but it still ends up kind of being the same old story. I think 5 runs for the most part throughout this season. A bunch of people would have jumped up and celebrated them scoring 5 runs in a game as opposed to 2 or 3. But today it was made to look like it was practically nothing with how many runs they gave up.
Yeah, just a shocking day. I think the only thing else I want to talk about with this game are probably A.J. Pollock and Lucas Giolito. What'd you think of that catch by A.J. Pollock? I didn't know the old man could get up like that still.
The A in AJ stands for air, obviously, and we could say that the J stands for Jordan. How about that, Air Jordan Pollock? But I mean, yeah, tremendous catch out there. I mean, we're used to seeing it from Adam Engel, right? We're used to seeing that kind of thing from Luis Robert. AJ Pollock carrying the torch there for center fielders with the White Sox. That was a phenomenal catch that, of course, is going to be very well lost because of the result.
I don't know if it's officially official with the Elvis Andrus signing, but did Tony talk about adding his presence tomorrow in Cleveland?
It's not. It's very much not official. The only thing that we've seen is the report from Jeff Passan. But some signals. I asked Tony in the pregame today, basically about Sosa and Gonzalez and whether they're okay with those guys, being who carry them through this TA injury. And he said, and his first response was, our front office guys are working on it and maybe they'll be an addition to the roster kind of thing. So Tony forecasting a move a little bit like that. And then of course during the game, they make the move on the 40-man to outright Yoan Ibar, and I don't blame any White Sox fans out there for not knowing who that might be, but he's a pitcher that was on the 40-man roster. He is not anymore, so obviously a free spot on that 40-man roster to add someone else. So we will probably see that tomorrow. All signs point to yes, to use Magic 8-ball lingo, but yeah, nothing official there. But an upgrade, right? I think. I think it kind of shows you the status of the guys after Tim Anderson on the depth chart, specifically the production woes that Larry Garcia has had this year, that we saw some similar behavior on social media to going out and getting Elvis Andrus that we saw when Manny Machado and Bryce Harper were free agents. So, you know what I mean? It was, this year it's been, right. This, not naming any names there, Sean, but this year it's been, man, they better go sign Marcus Semien. Man, they better trade for Juan Soto. And man, they better sign Elvis Andrus off waivers. I mean, listen, it is an upgrade, no doubt about it. But nobody should be expecting this guy to do anything but be right around, what he's done for a long time. He's hitting 250. He's getting on base around 300. He's not an all-star anymore. He hasn't been since 2012. This is the best year offensively he's had in like 5 years. So, this is not some sort of huge savior that's coming in. But is he better than Lenin Sosa? Yes. Is he better than Leury Garcia? Yes. Romy Gonzalez obviously has barely played this year because he had to get his tonsils taken out. So you have no idea what you're going to get from there. Some more dependability with Elvis Andrus, and obviously a guy who's been there before.
The reason I have that reaction, though, and what I was saying at the deadline, is I want the White Sox to improve their depth. They made one move. Like, I wanted something from this team. I think, Lenin and Romy, like, they're interesting pieces. Maybe they'll make it one day. But right now, when you're fighting for first place, you need competency. Elvis Andrus brings you competency. I'm going to cheer competency for this White Sox team when I see it. Elvis Andrus has the lowest ground ball rate of his career. Yay! That's exactly what the White Sox need. In his last 41 games, a 777 OPS. Yay! I'll take it. Like, it's a sign of life, which I will welcome, especially when we're talking about fire or lack of fire with this team. It's a guy that's going to be a professional mindset. Everyone in Oakland says that he's been a positive clubhouse influence there. I think that especially having some, familiarity with some players on the team, whether it be Lance Lynn, Josh Harrison, whether it be Brief, I think it's going to be a good addition. It is an upgrade, and we see the upgrade that Jake Diekman is over Tanner Banks. The upgrade over Elvis Andrus compared to Romy Gonzalez and Lenin Sosa, while it might not be to the level of Manny Machado, is still an upgrade, and I will celebrate upgrades whenever they happen. And it does show that Rick Hahn's phone does work. I do want to talk about Lucas. Where is he at? Because there was moments in this game where it felt like Lucas was back. It felt like things were working for him. And then he'd get into 2 strikes and he would just get battered around. And the Astros just seemed to have his number on 2 strikes. Was he in a rough spot after the post game, or was it just kind of not a lot of words?
Oh yeah, he was mad. He said he was terrible. He said he gave up too many runs. All those things are objectively true. it was being described today as maybe kind of a bad day, not necessarily the continuation of trends that we've seen. I mean, guys, Lucas's ERA is above 5. He has not had a very good season at all. But throughout the year, we've heard kind of him working on certain things to kind of find himself. He's been searching for himself, but they've been working specifically. Today, it was very much like, that sucked. You know what I mean? And so I'm not sure if this is the game, even though he gave up 7 runs and only got 9 outs. I'm not sure this is the game where you can extrapolate moving forward or can look to the past for trends. I'm not sure that's what this is. Maybe, after the heat of the moment, after the initial disappointment, if he, speaks over the next few days or the next few weeks, more broadly about what's been going on, there'll be a different answer. But as of right now, it was being described as a day that just was one of those days. And obviously Lucas has had too many of those this year, but this one might not necessarily be connected to the same kind of things that are going on.
Last thing I got for you, Vinny, it's not a serious question. It's that Joan Jett shirt you got on. Do you like her name brand song, I Love Rock and Roll?
I love it. I think everybody needs to remember that it is a cover, which is interesting. But
Who's
that is. It's a band nobody's ever heard of. I can't even remember it off the top of my head, to be honest with you. But yeah, obviously she has the most well-known version, but that's not a song that she wrote. That being said, it is a phenomenal tune. I have the record on vinyl, which is a tremendous album. And yeah, she's awesome. Very deserving Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Joan Jett.
What's your favorite song of hers?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's hard to not say I love rock and roll. It's so good. That's very singable in any sort of situation. But the cover of Crimson and Clover, the Tommy James song, that's a good one too. Obviously, the cover of Bits and Pieces, Dave Clark 5, that's a good one too. And obviously, she did the song that Springsteen wrote, "Light of Day," toward the end of the '80s. That's on some movie soundtrack somewhere. You got to go find from some Michael J. Fox movie. But it's a song Springsteen wrote, and she performed it for that movie. And if you can track it down, it's a pretty good one.
And by
I
the way,
know that from his Unplugged, but I didn't know that Joan Jett did it.
The band that wrote "I Love Rock and Roll" and performed it first is The Arrows, a British band. Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
I've never heard of them in my life. Neither have they heard themselves either.
It was from the movie Light of Day with Michael J. Fox and Joan Jett.
There you
This
go.
movie seems horrible.
I haven't seen the movie. Heard the song. The song's quite good.
Hey, maybe if the White Sox are real bad in October, maybe in those last 9 games we're talking about, if they're not in contention, maybe just instead of watching the White Sox game, we'll review Light of Day with Joan Jett and Michael J. Fox.
There you go. That's our off-season movie club right there.
There you go. Final thing I got for you. Gavin Sheets, has he talked about his approach at the plate? It seems a lot of very much opposite field hitting, a lot of trying to beat this shift. Has he talked any about that at all? I mean, he just had 4 hits today, career high.
Yeah, I think you're seeing the fruits of the work that he put in when he went back down to AAA. I think everybody that talks about him, specifically Tony La Russa, but Rick Hahn as well, and some of the other folks, they say, look at what happened. What a great turnaround. They've been citing his the way he looks right now as the way he's looked this whole time since he came back from the minor leagues. Obviously, the results have been a little bit more up and down than that, but finding some consistency here a little bit lately, given that inconsistent playing time, is something that he needs to do, because this is the role that he's in, is a guy that's going to be called on not every day, maybe once every few days, or in a pinch hit situation like you saw the other night. So it's a great thing for the White Sox because they need all the offensive help they can get right now. Certainly Chris Johnson, who is the hitting coach down there at AAA Charlotte, receives rave reviews for just about everybody he works with. Jake Berger earlier in the season, you remember, Johnson got some credit for that as well. So these guys they like what Chris Johnson does there at AAA, and the results are there for a few of these big leaguers.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vinny, for your coverage out at Guaranteed Rate Field today at this historic Astros and White Sox game. You can follow our CHGO White Sox beat writer on Twitter at Vinnie Duber.
And Vinny will be joining us on Sunday for that watch-along game on the 21st. So excited to watch games with you, Vinny.
Hours and hours of coverage.
Online.
Everybody's going to get to watch me eating combos, which is what I usually do when I'm in the studio for a game. So that'll be great. That'll be great podcasting, I'm sure, me with my mouth full of food.
Our producer, Stephen Nicholas, said brunch with the boys. He said he's bringing in orange juice and champagne for our 10:30
Mimosas,
affair.
Vinny, get ready.
So,
Oh, mimosas. Okay, so we're getting hammered during
yes,
this. Gotcha.
you'll,
All right.
you'll be loaded
4.5
and
hours of
eating
mimosas.
combos. It'll be a great time.
Yeah, the combos would soak all that alcohol up.
There you go.
Can't wait.
It'll be fun on Sunday with our guy Vinny. Enjoy the weekend, Vinny. We'll talk to you then. And Sox fans, we've still got almost 2 months left. The playoffs are right there for the taking. The White Sox still have a chance to win it all, and so do you. This Sunday, only August 21st, as the Sox take on the Guardians, PointsBet and CHGO have an offer for you to guard your cash. When you sign up for PointsBet, use the code CHGO and make a $51 bet or more, either in the pregame or live. I think you can do this starting right now. This will be the read when we're doing the pregame show, when we're watching live with you. But I'm pretty sure that our guy Jake said that this can start right now. So you can download the PointsBet app right now. Use code CHGO, and when you make a $51 or more bet, a $51 or more bet, you will get $2,000 in risk-free bets, a yearly CHGO membership, a size C sock shirt, an exclusive CHGO sock script shirt, only available with this offer, and a pair of slides from the CHGO locker. Those slides are brand new. That CHGO script shirt is brand new. So again, sign up for the PointsBet app. Use code CHGO, and if you make a $51 more or more bet on the PointsBet app, you'll get $2,000 in risk-free bets, a yearly CHGO membership, a size Sox shirt, and an exclusive CHGO sock script shirt, only available with this offer, and the pair of slides from the CHGO locker. All you need to do is sign up on the PointsBet app using code CHGO. It's the best deal in town, and it just got better. And interesting note there about Chris Johnson and Charlotte.
Yeah.
Our YouTube chat is blowing up. Charlotte makes the best hitters, and Frank, the GOAT, reconverts them to litter leaguers. Alex Root saying the hitting coach seems to know what he's doing. We also had a chat from our guy Rusted, a super chat from our guy Rusted, saying the Chicago White Sox are ruining my life. Help me. I wish we could, Rusted. You are a very, very diehard White Sox fan. We love your support. We just can't. I think Rusted also said something else about the Sox, if you could just search his name. But it's brutal for these diehards out here, Herb.
Yeah, like somebody was saying, like, can I stop watching the White Sox? Yeah. Or we should stop watching White Sox. We can't. You guys should.
Right there.
If you're feeling a certain way and your mental health is struggling, I know every time a White Sox game ends and they don't play well, I feel a little bit worse.
Yeah.
We're fans. That's what my definition for myself of being a fan. For years, the Bulls would play between the Jordan years until last year with Io. I wouldn't feel a damn thing if they won or lost. The Bears, every single time, no matter if I cared or didn't, I cared emotionally for the Bears to win or lose, and it would improve or discourage my mood. Illini football and basketball have the same effect on me, and the White Sox do too. That's what being a fan is. And if you're feeling like this season is taking a toll on you, step away. There's been plenty of White Sox fans that have done this. We'll be here recapping games, and when they do win 5 in a row, if you want to join us, we'll be here enjoying a 5-game winning streak. But yeah, it's not worth you just feeling bad every day. The White Sox watching 3 hours of garbage. No, it's terrible. We'll do that for you. That's why we get paid the big bucks. So watch terrible games and then tell you how we feel about it.
Well, and hey, those Bleacher and Brews tickets are still going to be there, right? The White Sox are still going to be there. They're still going to be wanting you to go to the games, spending their money at Guaranteed Rate Field. So don't worry. The White Sox aren't going anywhere if you go anywhere.
And the thing is, I've always, I don't know if I've ever had a bad time at Guaranteed Rate Field or any ballpark that I've been in. It's always a awesome time. The people around are going to be great. No matter the result, you're going to enjoy yourself. So if you want to just go to games, get loaded, go to games, enjoy some fellow fans and talk and bitch with them in person, that's a much better option. Find some secondary market tickets that are under $10. Don't give too much money for Jerry Reinsdorf. or somebody's got some free tickets, go ahead and go to the game. You enjoy yourself. But to watch that game and just slog through it, Jason and Steve are great. I love them. But they probably say the same thing. Nah.
Stoney left the booth.
If I didn't have to do this, I wouldn't be watching this dead-ass team.
Stoney's like, I'm done talking to Jason. I'm going to go talk to the guy from Houston. I don't blame him. That's for sure. Going back to what Rusted said, I liked what he said about Vinnie saying that right there. Vinnie, obviously, they're trying to fix it about the 3-0 counts, but Tony is using a Phillips head screwdriver to unclog the toilet. That one's great. And then Alex about Rusted saying, you guys need BetterHelp as a sponsor to get help for Rusted. Rusted, it will be okay, our dear, dear friend. And Raul and Rusted brought up something. The opener for that damn stadium, 16-0, getting suplexed by the Detroit Tigers. Raul saying the most runs the Sox gave up at home since the Tigers home opener in 1991, 16-0 on Channel 9. I really remember that day, 21-6. That was an ass whooping. It was an ass whooping, and I see Youssef mentioning in the comments, you got to fire Frank Minichino, and I will wait for the day the White Sox fire Frank Minichino. Well, let's talk about some of the numbers about this ass whooping. Time scoring 10 runs in a game at Guaranteed Rate Field this season from @C Kampka, Chris Kampka, the stat maven over at NBC Sports Chicago. The opponents, 8.
Wow.
The White Sox, 0. Herb, you want a little bit more salt in that wound?
Please, pour it down.
So the time scoring 10-plus runs at Guaranteed Rate Field this season, the opponents, 8. The White Sox scoring 10 or more runs this season, 6.
Wow. Jesus.
Right?
That's
fun.
so terrible. God.
And
that's the thing is, like, that's what we expected. We expected this team to be an offensive-driven team. Like, we knew the starters were good, but we knew we had some holes at 4 and 5. Johnny Cueto has come in and filled that hole. Dallas Keuchel was terrible, and Lucas Giolito so far this year has been terrible. So the starting pitcher has been pretty solid. We thought this team would be driven by the offense. That's half of the reason why we were like, okay, here we go. This team is going to go places. That's why we both had Luis Robert as our MVP for this year, because we thought third year in the league, finally healthy. Here we go, Luis Robert, hitting 30 home runs, stealing 30 bases, playing Gold Glove defense, all that stuff. But none of that stuff is coming to fruition, and people come to Guarantee Rate and see the White Sox perfectly. They're like, this is some delicious eating. Right. We're having a great time. The White Sox like, I don't know what a baseball is here at Guarantee Rate. We cannot score more runs than 10. 10 runs in a game at the house at Guarantee Rate, which is the offensive juggernaut ballpark.
Well, and I found the biggest reason why. The biggest reason why is what we thought during the show. The White Sox versus the fastball. The White Sox versus the fastball, friends. 4-seam fastballs, 2-seam fastballs, sinkers, cutters, doesn't matter. Any type of fastball. The White Sox, isolated power, which is batting average, or slugging percentage minus batting average. Their isolated power, 28th in the league against fastballs. 28th. This team cannot hit the most primary pitch in the majors. And I know slider usage has been up this year. Slider usage is higher than it's ever been before. But the White Sox just cannot handle a simple fastball. It is sad. It is pathetic. And not only are they not doing it in hitters counts, they're not doing it at 0-0. They're not doing it at 0-1. Just swing and miss, driving balls into the ground. Absolutely pathetic.
It's not only that, like it can't hit. And then how many times have you seen him? We discussed it earlier. Just let that fastball go right down middle, go on the corners, an 0-2 count or a 3-1 count. Doesn't matter. White Sox are not doing anything with the fastball. We saw, as Sean was talking about, you throw a 91-mile-per-hour fastball to Alex Bregman, he's going to deposit it. He's going to show you exactly what he means. Altuve got a fastball and almost deposited it, if not for Eric Pollock there. So you see other teams who are at the top of the league and what they do. That's where the White Sox are supposed to be, but they haven't got there yet. They probably won't get there this year. 43 more games left in the season.
Yeah.
I highly doubt they'll just turn on a switch and start hitting fastballs. Highly doubt that they'll start hitting home runs. And they still, got only 103 home runs in the year?
Yeah.
trash.
It's ugly. And hey,
Trash.
Yoan went deep, which was great to see, but it's once in a blue moon, basically, with them. We did ask the question earlier, have the White Sox scored 21 runs in a week? Last week, from the 9th to the 14th, they scored 24 runs. The week prior, the 1st to the 7th, they scored 26. So they did, but not by much. Hey, there you go. And I still love this team, too. I see what Herman's saying. I love this team. I love these players. I like the guys that they have. I like the roster. I don't like the manager. I don't like the coaches. I don't like the poor job the general manager's done, and I don't like the owner forcing a manager on this team. I really like the players, and it's not the players' fault that this is the situation. Can they be playing better? Absolutely. Can they be playing with more fire? Absolutely. I don't want to excuse them, but I see the main issues being more the coaches, the general manager, and the owner.
And Cub fan Pat Hunt says, why actually are the Sox keeping TLR? Is it truly just his relationship with Jerry? Yes.
Yes.
That's
In 1986, Hawk Harrelson fired Tony La Russa, and that was Jerry Reinsdorf's biggest mistake as a owner in 40 years.
Yeah, and he made sure that he didn't have any regrets before he leaves this earth, and rehired this guy who hadn't managed in 11 years and keeping him on there. And theoretically, the general manager nor the VP of baseball operations can fire this guy who has been deserving to get fired multiple times this year. So this is why the frustration comes through. This is why we keep on asking the same questions, because we know that nothing's going to be done, but we got to ask it for ourselves to feel a little relief, to not leave any stone left unturned for ourselves, because maybe there's an answer somewhere. Maybe somewhere, somehow, that Tony's like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm out, man. I got a Hall of Fame plaque. I got 3 championships. I don't need all this frustration. That's what I would be feeling like. If I had all that stuff, money in the bank, respect, now he just ruined his legacy. Most White Sox fans are going to think of him as a complete failure. Complete failure.
There's not a lot of fans. I mean, like last year, it was pretty obnoxious. I mean, mainly the large debate between White Sox Twitter was TLR or no TLR.
Yeah.
A lot of those TLR supporters are quiet this year.
Yeah, and then, I mean, it's kind of same with Robin Ventura. If you bring up Robin Ventura's name with White Sox fans he was a horrible manager. His baseball career with the White Sox is kind of forgotten. Tony La Russa as a White Sox manager, the first time around, was all right. Got him to the playoffs for the first time in, I think, like 30-plus years in 1983, and fired in 86, and immediately goes on to Oakland and does great things, winning World Series, and eventually in St. Louis, too. But if you ask White Sox fans after Tony La Russa's tenure here, they're going to say, failure, terrible, we hated him. And his legacy will be this White Sox team. It will be. It'll be part of it. And so they have to, as Vinny said, they have to probably chisel a little bit more into his Hall of Fame plaque and put 2021 through 2022, hopefully, only 2022,
right,
in his Hall of Fame plaque, and say, Tony really failed as a White Sox manager. He had a team that was ready to win, and that team failed. This is part of his legacy. And for me, if I was Tony La Russa, I would no, I don't want my lasting image to be this failure of a team. I don't know why he came back. It was dumb, because this is what I'm going to think about when I think about Tony La Russa.
Amen. And hey, when Chris Woodward was fired, Bob Nightingale wrote up in USA Today, the White Sox would never fire La Russa again, but they would move him to a special assistance role if they missed the postseason. So if they miss the postseason, he will still have a job in the White Sox organization. And if they make the playoffs, he still has another year under contract. So he could be the manager next year if this team makes the playoffs. He said, Bob, too, they're the most underachieving team in baseball, playing in the league's softest division. That should get, and this is not Bob, this is me adding that should get someone's fired, but because he's best friends with the owner, it just simply won't. All right, Herb, you ready to feel optimistic?
Yes.
So after this one, we thought no better way to spend our time than putting together 5 reasons to be optimistic, 5 reasons to be pessimistic. Do you want to do the optimistic ones or the pessimistic ones?
Let's do optimistic first, because the pessimistic is pretty obvious. And let's end the show on a sad note.
The top 5 reasons to be optimistic about your 2022 Chicago White Sox. Number 1, they have the 8th best weighted runs created plus with runners on, runners in scoring position, and the bases loaded.
You wouldn't think so, but they've been decently good with those situations, and Yoan Moncada, especially with those situations, has been pretty good.
Well, and they've been good in 2 of the 3. Bases loaded, not so much, but when you account for runners on and runners in scoring position, 8th best team in baseball this year. Number 2, the 9th best ERA for starters since June 1st. Johnny Cueto has been great. Dylan Cease has been a Cy Young candidate. Lance Lynn's been pretty, he hasn't been awful, hasn't been horrible. Lucas Giolito's been the worst of the 5, but Michael Kopech has been good as well. The starters, at least the first 3, I trust.
Yeah, they've had a sub-3 ERA since, I believe, June 30th. Doing a great job with their starters, sans today's start for Lucas Giolito. They've been giving the White Sox more than a chance to win each and every game that they've been in, besides today.
Well, and shout out to Mr. Agayo in the chat here. Easiest schedule, you still have to beat the teams. That is so true. I actually didn't think about that. Going through the White Sox year, this entire year where we keep mentioning that they have the easiest schedule, I haven't thought once that you actually have to win those games. I thought the wins come.
But the weird part about it, Mr. Aguayo, the White Sox, since the second half has started, have one of the best records in the American League.
No, that's narrative ball there, Herb. Let's go to more reasons to feel optimistic, because the third one is the easiest schedule. They have the easiest schedule of the top 3 teams in the AL Central, and I think the 26th easiest schedule in the major leagues. Feel free to bring up that graphic, Steven. The Minnesota Twins have the 15th easiest, or just 15th schedule, I guess, because that's just right in the middle.
Yep.
They have a opponent win percentage of 499 coming up. They have 3 games against the Astros, 4 games against the Yankees, 8 games against the Guardians, 9 against the Sox, 3 against the Giants. So those are real tough teams right there. The Guardians have the 20th easiest schedule. I guess the 20th easiest schedule. No, it will be the
10th easiest
right, we should have
schedule.
flipped this. Padres, 2 games against the Padres, 7 games against the Mariners, 3 games against the Rays, 8 games against the Twins, and 3 games against the Baltimore Orioles. And the White Sox have the 26th hardest schedule. They have 3 games against the Padres, 3 games against the Mariners, 6 against the Twins, and 9 against the 6 against the Guardians, and 9 against the Twins. It's a reason to be optimistic. I mean, you're playing the A's, you're playing the Tigers, who you've handled well. You're playing the Rockies, who you split with last time. You're playing the Diamondbacks. I mean, there's something there, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of bum teams in there. And yes, the White Sox haven't taken advantage of the Kansas City Royals on the schedule, as the Royals have more wins than losses versus the White Sox this year. But they've killed the Detroit Tigers. And the A's have been giving people away, as the White Sox now have Elvis Andrus, not officially, but that is the signing has been announced by Jeff Passan. 4 games versus the A's, 3 next weekend on Elvis night, the 26th, 27th, 28th, with those Diamondbacks, who are cooked too. So there's availability for the White Sox to get right back in here this weekend versus the Guardians.
Well,
3 games in Cleveland. Take 2 out of 3.
This was a stat you shared, too, about those starters. That was the second point. The Sox starting pitching own a 2.88 ERA in 25 games since the All-Star break, the best mark in the AL and 3rd best in the majors. Now, that's going to balloon after a game like today, but that's 1 game.
Yep.
I'm not too worried about that. So, the pitching has been good, and you're going up against poor hitting teams. Number 4, the fourth reason to be optimistic about this White Sox, the bullpen is filthy. They have the 11th best ERA in the major leagues, 11th best WAR, and it feels like they've been better since. Not a great day from Jose Ruiz, but again, just a bad day. He's been really good in the past 2 months. Jake Diekman's been a good addition. Hendricks has been nails when healthy. Kelly's been great. We talked about his last 14 outings. Graveman's been good when not in the 9th inning. So, and Raylo. Jimmy Lambert's been nails. Raylo's been fantastic. So a lot of great stuff out of that bullpen if the Sox could ever have a lead in a playoff game. And then the 5th reason to be optimistic, veteran presence from outsiders. You mentioned this already a little bit, but they just signed Elvis Andrus. We talked about the 10 players in the veteran meeting with Tony. So I do like that they have voices from outside the team. It's not just Leary. It's not just Jose, right? Yaz has been in many different organizations. Joe Kelly's been in different organizations. Liam, Lance Lynn, Johnny Cueto, Elvis, Josh, etc. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's very good that other people who have seen winning cultures, winning teams come to the White Sox like, this is not it. You see Johnny Cueto calling out the team. You see Dallas Keuchel calling out the team last year. Same thing when Kendall Graveman came in and said, this is what we did with the Astros. When I was in Seattle, we did certain things. When I went to the Astros, it was more buttoned down, and winning was the only thing that we cared about. So bringing in those different players from different teams, because the White Sox are such an insular, for the most part, failure of an organization. It's good to have people who are from winning organizations to teach you how they did it on a different team instead of the culture and the organizational things that they taught with the White Sox.
All right, and now Yusef and Chi-Town are saying, how is 11th good or how is 11th filthy? I'm so sorry, guys. There's no reason to be optimistic about the White Sox. The bullpen's been good in the last 2 months, all right? I'm sorry.
I mean, 11th.
There's no reason to be happy about the White Sox. There's no reason to be optimistic. Cancel the season.
11th out of 30 teams is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not
horrible. Right?
We're not talking about half the league. We're talking about the full league.
Yeah.
The 11th best bullpen out there.
I'm trying to find, better stats for you. I mean, the White Sox bullpen has allowed the 6th least earned runs since July 1st. How about that? Is that better for you?
Yeah.
The White Sox have, that's not that many. 20th most strikeouts since July 11th. I don't know. Never mind. Well, then there's only 4 reasons to be optimistic. Let's go to the
pessimistic reason.
Let's be pessimistic because
we're already here.
That's what the chat wants. Number 1, lack of home run power. Herb, do we need to elaborate more than that?
No, they're bad. They're really, really poor at hitting the ball over the fence.
They are.
You saw what happened when the Astros hit the ball over the fence. Results. Good results. The White Sox only hit the ball over the fence 1 time. 5 runs.
And 1 time, it was a great 1 time.
It was. It's good to see Yo finally hit a fastball and crush it. It's been few and far between for him.
And we'll see if he does that again against the Guardians or if he just, stares at fastballs going down the middle of the plate. Number 2, lack of postseason experience for Dylan Cease. 2 2/3, 2 strikeouts, and he has an ERA above 10. I do worry about that. If you need to win a game in the playoffs, if you get there, Dylan Cease is your game 1 starter, but he really hasn't had a lot of moments being in that spot. I do think that he'll have a ton of adrenaline in that moment.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem because the playoffs are a different beast, and you're going against a team in the wild card, and you lose that game because Dylan Cease wasn't on his game. It's going to be really tough to win the next game, which is the best of 3 series. So you're going to throw Johnny Cueto out for that second game, and yeah, Johnny Cueto's been nails, and he's got the veteran experience, but it's going to be so much pressure on him if Dylan Cease doesn't go out and perform like he does in the regular season because that playoff, like we said, it's a different animal, and not having that experience and not having good experience in the playoffs might come to the forefront.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a great pitch. He does have 1 pitch to rely on, so maybe, just maybe, that will help him get through. But I do worry that if he walks the first guy of that game, a 2-run home run might knock him off his game, and we won't see Cy Cease. Number 3, team hasn't shown consistent fire. They just had a meeting on Friday about this. That's a concern. I worry about their ability to lock in, their ability to focus. And, hey, it feels like they kind of fell out of it a bit in this game. They were able to get bases loaded in many different situations, but they only were able to drive in 2 runs with no outs and the bases loaded twice. That's pathetic, and I think that's probably fire right there. You're not locking in, you're not looking for a pitch, and you're not ready to hit fastballs. If I have to watch Sebi Zavala swing and miss at more fucking fastballs with the bases loaded, I'm going to puke.
And the thing is, like, in the 7th inning, they got what I need to get done. They hit a ball in the air eventually, I think, with 1 out for Yoan Moncada to score on a sac fly. But few and far between that they do that. They usually hit the ball on the ground, and it's a 6-4-3 double play or a 5-4-3 double play. It's like, what are you doing? What is your plan there? You're always like ultra aggressive too, because usually when they have these bases loaded situations, the pitcher has walked a couple people or he's looking bad. And our hitters are ultra aggressive, not allowing this pitcher to get himself continuously in trouble. They just, like, for a team that hits a bunch of singles during when they're not, bases are not loaded, they fail all the time with the bases loaded. And it's just, what's your plan? What do you want to do in this 0 out bases loaded situation? The worst thing you could do is strike out. because no runs score, and now it puts the pressure on the next guy. The White Sox more often than not strike out or hit into the ground ball double play, which is rally killing. It just deflating for the audience, deflating for the team right there.
And what did we learn yesterday? What category with the bases loaded are the White Sox the leader in? Infield fly balls with the bases loaded.
Like 31%.
So, yes. So not only are they striking out with the bases loaded, not only are they grounding into double plays, the other thing that they're doing is flying out in the infield and not even getting a sacrifice fly. Pathetic. And here, just for you guys, the White Sox, since July 1st, have a top 10 bullpen according to WAR and a top 10 bullpen according to FIP. All right, there you go. There's the optimism right there. And let's go to the final reason to be pessimistic. I think it's the last reason to be pessimistic. No, number 4, 28th in ISO power versus fastballs. We already mentioned that. And number 5, 6th worst defense by outs above average. They're tied with the Pirates. So that's not good. So
that's not.
They don't hit homers. They don't play defense. They're horrible at running the bases, and they have no fire to play with.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Right. My husband's dead.
Yeah, it was very, very bad if you have bad defense and you can't score runs. Like, the playoffs are going to be real tough. Yes, I got it. Playoffs are really far away for us. We're 2.5 games out. But if they ever get into the playoffs, it's going to be really hard to win any games there because you're booting the ball around, and then the other team's taking advantage of that, and then you can't take advantage of the other team's mistakes because when you get bases loaded, you hit the ball in the air, you hit the ball on the ground, you don't hit the ball over the fence because you only done that one time. One time.
And that guy is active and hasn't played an actual game in about 6 days. So you're not even getting, the full reinforcements of this team. Final thing we want to talk to you about, the matchups against the Cleveland Guardians. This is an important series. I see a lot of fans saying they need a sweep, they need a sweep, they need a sweep, they need a sweep. We'll see what happens against the Guardians. The Sox are 2.5 games back of the Guardians. Guardians are 63-55. Sox are 61-58. So if they can hand the Guardians 3 losses, Herb, they'll be in first place.
Theoretically, unless the Twins also win their 3 games.
That's true.
But, yeah, the White Sox have...
Twins are going up against the Rangers, so it's possible.
Yeah. The White Sox have their fate in their hands. If they want to win and they want to be in the playoffs, just win games. Just win games. That's it. It's a tough schedule. Tristan McKenzie is tough. So is Shane Bieber. But excuses go out the window. When you need to win, go ahead and win. Because I know that Lance Lynn's going to give him a good chance to win. Even though his start a couple starts ago versus the Royals was 4 runs, it was two-run home runs. That's more than enough to get the job done when you only give up 4 runs. We know what we got in Johnny Cueto. That man gives up 3 earned runs or less pretty much every single start that he's been there. He's only given up more than 3 earned runs one time versus the Cubs. That's it. And you know about our guy, Dylan Cease. Right. So look, this is how good you are when fans are disappointed that you gave up 3 earned runs. Disappointed, like, oh, Cease is cooked. 3 earned runs? What is this trash out here? Giving up 3 earned runs? You're garbage. We know these pitchers are all going to give the White Sox a chance to win these games in Cleveland. Now, will the offense join them and give the defense a chance to win? Probably not.
Yeah, and it's not like they do well against right-handers. So, Shane Bieber's had their number for the large part of his career outside of the last time they faced him. Aaron Savale left the game in the first inning the last time they were supposed to play him, so we didn't really get to see Savale versus the Sox. He just struck out 10 in his last game, so that should be fun. And Tristan McKenzie, last time the Sox faced him, I think he went 7 innings deep and allowed 2 earned runs. So pretty ugly. Your matchups, though, Lance Lynn on Friday versus Tristan McKenzie, Johnny Cueto versus Shane Bieber, and Dylan Cease on Sunday versus Aaron Savale. The best news, Herb, we get to watch a Dylan Cease start on Sunday.
Yes, live. Join us live on Sunday morning. It's an 11 o'clock start because it's on Peacock. It could be Jason Benetti, Rick Manning from the Indians broadcast, and Steve Stone. We'll be on YouTube, right here, the channel that you're watching right now, talking about the game, play-by-play. I know MLB prohibits it, but fuck them. We got express written consent. No, we did. We're going to be watching the game with you. We're going to be talking to guests.
Yes.
Sean, myself, Vinnie Duber. We'll have one guest in studio right now. We'll have a couple guests via video talking about what's going on, what's happened this year. Guys and girls from the Sox Twitter sphere and Sox blogosphere will be joining us, and we'll be having a great time. And remember, bet that $51 right now or pregame during that game or during the game. You get that swag of that Dylan C shirt. You get that new CHGO script shirt and some CHGO slides to put on your feet. What can be better? Use code CHGO.
And you got $51 to bet at PointsBet. It's the best points sports book out there.
Damn straight.
It's a great deal. The best deal in town just got better.
And Sean's cutting his hair on Sunday too.
Right. Oh, and I'm cutting my hair. I got to get clippers. That should be fun.
I got clippers. When we had sponsored earlier, we had Manscaped. Remember
Can
when
that
you
work
cut your
for my head though?
Yeah, they're the same clippers. They'll probably be much better. They'll be much smoother on your head than you would. They use it for more sensitive spots, Sean.
I don't know about that.
So I'm sure your head will be fine.
All right. Well, hopefully you have an unused Manscaped shaver.
I have one. I have one at home right
Is
now.
it unused?
Unused.
Hey, baby, let's go. I don't know why I also said 7 innings for McKenzie versus the Sox. I must have thought that was a different pitcher. 4 1/3 for McKenzie back on April 20th. 1 hit allowed, 1 earned run, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts. And then also on July 23rd, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. I did see our guy, blank name, mentioning, if you walk against McKenzie, you should have good success. The White Sox don't walk. They're the worst team in Major League Baseball in walking.
There's the catch-22, man.
Right.
And
if only they could.
I'll be joining Sean either bald or changing my hair to blonde if the White Sox don't sweep the goddamn Cleveland Guardians.
If the White Sox lose on Friday or Saturday, Herb will be shaving his head or dyeing it blonde. It should be a fantastic, fantastic show. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at EcknerWall23. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. And you can follow the show at CHGO_White Sox. Thank you to Stephen Nicholas for producing our show today. Thank you to Fleetwood Mac for their 1979 album Tusk. We will see you on Sunday, 10:30 pregame. Full live stream throughout the show. We'll be talking with you, talking with guests, me, Herb, and Vinny on the chairs in Studio A, and then we'll have a post game for you after. So a lot of content coming up on Sunday, the 21st. Join us starting at 10:30 a.m. For Herb Lawrence, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Not really. We'll talk to you on Sunday. Go White Sox.